Good morning, beautiful people. I hope you all are thriving, not just surviving. We have some breaking news today, and we're going to be talking all about it. So, hope everyone is doing well and has had a great weekend. There was a lot of breaking news before the live stream today, so I apologize for only getting started now, because I'll tell you, there has been a lot of volatility within the last half hour regarding everything happening with this Iran war situation, and it's only getting crazier from here. This is on the ground breaking news that I'm going to be delivering this morning, and there's a lot that's very much up in the air. So I'm going to be bringing all of that to you. Please make sure to send some likes. Good morning and welcome to Raw and Unfiltered, where I just give you the raw news, unfiltered from media bias, and I will share my opinion, my analysis, my breakdown, but you absolutely have the freedom to disagree with it. Though, what's not up for debate are the facts. So, let's get right into it here, shall we? This morning, oh good God, girl, I woke up to a post from Donald Trump. Geez, why do I do this to myself? This was at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm pointing down here. And the post says, let me get my hands, hold on. I can't do my Trump impression without my hands. I am pleased to report that the United States of America, and yes, I have to type this in all caps, and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East, based on the tenor and tone of these in-depth conversations, these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter. A screaming, whiny billionaire who has no idea what he's doing. So this is breaking news. This morning, Donald Trump posted that he has been in great conversations with the country of Iran over peace talks. And Iran, the country, has denied, nope, this is not happening. So it's a lot like a 6-7 situation. Which one is it? Which one is it? Are we doing peace? Are we not doing peace? Are we doing a piece of chocolate? Who knows? Make sure to send some likes. I love all of you. All of this started transpiring literally right before I went live, so I had to completely change everything I was doing this morning. And as this person pointed out, I'm solving the problem that I created, which is Pinnacle Trump. And I see a whole bunch of people jumping in here. Good morning. Hello. Hello, Akicha. Elisa. I love all of you. Did you see his witch? They took it down and reposted with the correct spelling. Oh, I didn't see that. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. I mean, look, we all have problems, spelling things sometimes, but when you are the president of the United States, okay, you are not going to be taken easy on that subject. I mean, this is a guy who doesn't really even know how to manage a country. He bankrupted a casino. How do you do that? Anyway, this all happening after late Saturday evening, he posted this saying, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So he's had a huge reverse course here, where Saturday evening he said, I'm going to blow up your infrastructure power plants, your biggest one first. And then this morning saying that we've had constructive peace talks. That's a lot to happen over a short period of time. So just to give you a little bit more on the ground, what is happening, what is the raw truth, what's going on here, I want to point out that Trump says that the ultimatum for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz has been postponed amid negotiations, but Iranian state TV has claimed that Mr. Trump has moved the deadline out of fear of Iran's response. And what's interesting is Iran has not acknowledged any negotiations with the Trump administration and its Security Council. And its Security Council threatened earlier Monday to mine the entire Persian Gulf if the U.S. did not strike its power plant, or if the U.S. did strike its power plants. I can't read. My apologies. Further, you want to talk about on-the-ground reporting? So Trump has delayed the attacks he said he was going to do over the peace talks he's claiming happened, yet Iran is now saying there's been no direct contact with Trump. There's no direct or indirect contact, I can't English today, with Trump. So Iran's foreign news agency, citing an unnamed Iranian source, say there has been no direct contact with U.S. President Donald Trump, not through and not also through an intermediary. The source claimed Trump backed down after being warned that Iran would target power plants. The report added that Trump has said talks with Iran were underway, despite the source denying any such communication. So, what is happening? What's the truth? What's the situation? You and I are in the same boat. Trump announces that there are peace talks that are ongoing after literally threatening to blow up their infrastructure. And he announces that there's peace talks, and now Iran is saying, no, there's no peace talks. This has all happened literally within the last 30 minutes before I went live. And I'm like, I don't even know how to deliver the information here. What is going on? I can't even tell you. And it's also a difficult situation because the thing is, who's telling the truth? Who's telling the truth? And if you're like, okay, I know that there's this situation going on. What is this all about? What is this all about? So Trump announced that I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good, productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. So right now, the United States really wants this specific waterway called the Strait of Hormuz open. That's what this is really all about. The United States wants the oil. It's always the oil. And the United States wants that oil waterway, the Strait of Hormuz, to be open so that we can bring oil prices down so that Americans aren't being price gouged at the pump. But what's interesting is Trump is saying that there have been productive conversations, yet Iranian state TV is saying, no, we've not had any contact with them. The country of Iran has not acknowledged and is saying, no, we aren't doing any conversations about peace with Trump. We don't want to do that. So it's becoming a he said, she said situation where national security, global security, and world peace is in the air. The existence and peace of our whole global planet is all up in the air over he said, she said situation. All because right now the Strait of Hormuz is effectively closed. So for those people who do not know, the Strait of Hormuz is this waterway that is in the southern part of Iran. The Strait of Hormuz carries around 20% of the world's oil daily. That's exports coming from not just Iran, the country, but also from Iraq, Kuwait, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates. These are all countries that export oil. So right now, the reason why oil prices are skyrocketing is because supply is dwindling because you're not seeing exports from these countries. because Iran is threatening to blow up and is blowing up ships and oil tankers that attempt to pass through the Strait of Hormuz out to other countries. And so right now, even though Iran itself doesn't actually export a whole bunch of oil, they do. Most of it's going to the rest of Asia. We don't really get much from them, but all of this other oil is exported through the Strait of Hormuz. And right now, Trump's goal has been trying to reopen this without backing down from hostilities. And now he's like, oh, we've finally decided to do peace. Well, that was shortly after him also posting this. He posted this Saturday evening. The United States has blown Iran off the map. They're no longer on the map. I don't even see Iran on the map. I thought it was Iraq. I thought it was Iraq. I saw those two and I just said, oh, the end must be a Q. But the United States has blown Iran off the map, and yet their lightweight analyst, David Sanger, says that I haven't met my own goals. Yes, I have. And weeks ahead of schedule. And yes, I have. Their leadership is gone. Their Navy and Air Force are dead. They have absolutely no defense. And they want to make a deal. I don't. We are weeks ahead of our schedule, just like their incompetent election coverage of me. Okay, wait. Hold on. Pre-K pause. You're saying that Iran has been blown off the map, their leadership is gone, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is dead. Then who are you negotiating with? Had very good and productive conversations with Iran. Okay, wait a minute. You're claiming that their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, all of that. You've said you've blown Iran off the map, decimated all of their military. Who are you having these negotiations with? An Iranian 4-year-old in the street? Like, who are you having these conversations with? So how has this war ended and then seemingly only just started? How? And this is when y'all need to fully understand the king is mad. There's no logic. He doesn't have a strategy. It is always declare these crazy things and then backtrack immediately. If Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States of America will hit and obliterate their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. So you're threatening to blow up their power plants, but I thought you decimated their entire Navy, Air Force, military. You blew the country off the map. See, he posts this in Saturday evening, 7:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But he posted this an hour beforehand. He says that he's blown Iran off the map. Their leadership is gone, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone. They have no defense. And they want to make a deal. Who's they? How in the world? Okay, you've killed them, you've blown them away, but they want to make a deal? What, are you going to do some sort of conjuring of ghosts up from the dead, get a Ouija board or something like that, and summon the spirits of the dead Iranian leaders that you somehow killed? Like, what is going on? What is going on? And then he posts this morning that, oh, I'm not blowing them off the map. Instead, actually, we've been doing peace talks. I'm pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had good conversations over the last 2 days. The last 2 days, you were the one threatening to blow up their power plants. You were the one that said their whole army is gone. Who are you having these conversations with? And see, this is the thing. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And also, I want to put out something here that isn't being reported quite a lot. And this is the thing. just to confirm, Iranian state media has said, no, we've not had any contact with Trump regarding any peace of any kind. So that's what it is. Iran's Fars news agency, citing unnamed Iranian source, says there has been no direct contact with President Donald Trump, and also not through an intermediary. The source claimed Trump backed down after being warned that Iran would target other people's power plants, meaning the United States. Power plants in countries around Iran that are owned by the United States. The report added that Trump had said talks with Iran were underway, despite the source denying any such communication. So it's interesting. You're like, okay, so what is this all over? This is so strange. And I started reading the comments on these posts, and I got the answer. Buy DJT stock before it skyrockets. Interesting. The Iranian Foreign Ministry issues an official denial. We deny the statements of the U.S. President Donald Trump regarding negotiations ever taking place. The Islamic Republic of Iran maintains its position against any negotiation before Iran achieves its war objectives. It's interesting because this person's like, oh, you are a effing pathological liar. I want to point out that that was the wrong "your," but that is the furthest thing from the truth. You are trying to manipulate the stock market and crude oil prices with your lies that will rapidly be exposed when people see Iran has no intention of a deal after you attack them for no effing reason, except diverting attention from the Epstein files. Who the H do you think you're fooling? The smart Americans know what the F you are. Biggest criminal in the world. Pathological liar. Child rapist. Insurrectionist traitor. 34-time convicted felon. You get the gist. And I saw this and I'm like, that's a part of this equation that I haven't really looked too much into. The advancing and retreating. The declaring peace, but then also simultaneously a few hours beforehand, claim that you're going to blow them off the map. You've blown them off the map. Their leadership is gone. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is dead. And then you say they want to make a deal. How can you make a deal with dead people? But then you also turn around 24 hours later, 36 hours later, and say that you want peace. So the real answer to that, in my view, from my understanding, is it's all about the money. You're like, why does Donald Trump claim that he's going to blow up the country, blow up their power plants, decimate it, completely devastate their country, blow up their power plants, and then all of a sudden turns around 24 hours later and negotiate and try to say that we're doing peace, that we're doing peace? I think that it has to do with stocks, the stock market, manipulating prediction markets in order to make money. And so let me show you something. This morning, before I even went live, this is on the ground reporting. I was looking at the stock market, looking at crude oil prices. Now, this morning, I want to point out the stock market doesn't officially open until 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Though, you can trade stocks as early as 4 a.m. in the morning, from what I'm able to gather. Now, personally, I don't trade any stocks. I am not the most knowledgeable on trading stocks on the stock market. But what's interesting is I want to point out the timeline of events. This morning, around 6:42 a.m., the stock price for crude oil was just under $100 per share. Trump posts on his Truth Social claiming that he's negotiated peace. I'm pleased to announce that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had, over the last 2 days, very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Funny enough, that was literally 36 hours after he threaten to blow up their power plants, but then also claim that all of the people that are in Iran, their leadership is gone, their navy is gone, their air force is dead, and they want to make a deal. I don't. And then you announce that you're making a deal. Well, you might be like, well, what is all this for? Part of my theory, and there's evidence to support this, is using the market, the stock market, the volatility, in order to make money. Because the stock market opened early this morning, doesn't open officially until 9:30, but you can trade stocks as early as 4 a.m. And this thing where he posted about peace, well, I want you to note the timestamp on that post. 7:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this morning, 7:23 a.m. At 6:42, it's at $100 per share, basically, $98. Then it immediately drops shortly before he makes that post. Now, I'm not sure if it's a direct cause and effect relationship. You could say that it's plausible that there was something else going on. I might not have the full story. That's true. I'm not the most knowledgeable when it comes to stock markets and trading. But what would cause such a huge dip in the stock price? Maybe announcing peace talks, meaning that the Strait of Hormuz is going to then be reopened quickly after, meaning that supply is going to go up, price is going to go down, and people who then bet on the stock market for the price to go down end up being correct. So, you're basically able to predict the stock market based on political events. Wake up, it's just another scam. Yeah. So what you're basically doing is using the stock market, using political events in order to predict what's going to happen next. And then that means that people can basically understand how to manipulate current events in order to then win the stock market and make money. So immediately after Trump posts that thing, the stock market takes a huge dip. Now you'll say, oh, well, going from $100 to $90, that's a huge dip. Yes, when you look at stocks, that is a significant dip. What's also interesting is shortly after that, it started trickling up a little bit more. So posting that, and then it just plummets down, and now it's going to trickle back up as soon as, people realize, oh no, like Iran has just denied all of this. I guarantee you that it's probably been trickling up. So you're saying this now, like insider trading that hasn't plagued our society for decades? No, I'm saying that like we shouldn't have insider trading. We shouldn't have insider trading at all. Members of Congress or anyone in government should not be able to trade stocks based off of information that isn't been known to the public. Also, members of Congress, in my view, should be banned and prohibited from participating in prediction markets. Why? Because it is their actions that can lead to them knowing what's going to happen. This is classic corruption. Doesn't matter the party, doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. If you are in a position of power and you can manipulate the market through a post on a Truth Social where your actions can lead to stocks rising or falling so sharply, you shouldn't be participating in those markets. And to me, the most important function that government has is to eliminate the greed and avarice of people to take advantage of society. That is something that I care deeply about. If I see other people being scammed, if I see other people not getting a fair shake because others are gaining the system, it makes me mad. It frustrates me. Government is supposed to be a group of people that represent the interests of the people, by the people, and for the people. And if the government itself is instead focusing on manipulating foreign policy by starting wars or not starting wars or saying that wars are ended or not ending, and you basically can game the system in order to make money, yeah, that's bad, and I'm going to talk about it. It's disgusting. That's why insider trading should be banned. And also, I find it hilarious that that person decided to resort to decided to somehow say that, oh, you could be rich if you participated in it or if you knew enough about it. That's not the point. I don't want to then amass some great wealth by participating in a system that is awful to begin with. I care about the integrity of government to actually serve the people and focus on serving the people instead of using it as a conduit to amass personal wealth. I don't understand where people can somehow miss that. Not saying like I'm a perfect person or anything like that, but that's what I'm talking about here. So the fact that Donald Trump can immediately go from saying that he's going to blow up power plants, but then shortly before saying that all of their people are dead anyway, their leadership is gone, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, to then say, I don't want to make a deal, I don't, and then makes a deal, you're like, well, Trump looks like an idiot. Of course, he's an idiot. But you're like, well, what's the main point? My understanding, my theory, is that they're using this in order to manipulate the stock market in order to make money. And this is why members of government should not be able to participate in prediction markets. That's at least my understanding, my view. And it's funny because when you look at the comments of people online, people are also saying this exact same thing. Trump put out a tweet just before the stock market opened. I'm shocked. And this person said just before, the stock market doesn't open for another hour and a half. You are a DF, Kenny. And so it's like, another hour, LOL, you're a complete joke. Trump made a public announcement just 2 hours before the market opened. You can't say what is wrong with that. You have no clue. None. It's like just in time for it to dump futures. And by the way, I want to point out that the stock market opens officially at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time, but you can trade stocks before then, buddy. Pre-market hours, trading can start as early as 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Though 7 and 8 a.m. are a lot more common. So can you trade stocks at 7 a.m. in the morning before the stock market is open? Yes. So the idea that this weird person in the comments here was trying to own them for saying that somehow this was absurd for you to make that connection, you're an idiot. So this gets to a bigger, broader thing that I really want to talk about. And I want to dive into this as a whole concept, a whole subject matter for a future live stream. But how do political announcements affect the volatility of the stock market? How do political leaders, their actions and their decision making affect what stocks are going to go up or stocks that are going to go down? Or how do their actions then affect prediction markets like Kalshi or Predict It? This is something that I'm increasingly getting more interested in looking at because it's a lot like the people who are in those positions of power are the ones that hold within them the answers to those questions. For instance, when you go on Kalshi, I don't know too much about it, but there are things like who will leave Trump's cabinet next? Or how long will the government shutdown last? When will DHS be funded again? Will proof of citizenship be required for federal voter registration? When will the Strait of Hormuz return to normal? You see, these are prediction markets and you can bet on it. And the thing is, members of Congress, the government, they can basically manipulate. They're the ones that hold the keys of figuring out whether these things are going to happen or not going to happen. So I'm concerned with the fact that people in government might be using this situation, these markets, in order to make money. Same with insider trading. And see, that's what makes me so mad, is public service should be about public service. Wake up, it's just another scam. Exactly. Public service should be about caring for what the public needs and requires. So I'm getting really concerned about these prediction markets, specifically in how they interact with politics. It's one thing if you are a huge sports fan and you want to predict and bet on sports. You can be like, that's my freedom to do so. That's fine. I don't have any quarrels with that. I really don't. The one thing that I'm really worried about it's a problem as age old as time, is the corruption of government leaders to put the thumb on the scales to influence the actions that they themselves can bet on. So the fact that Donald Trump can probably make some good money for him and his wealthy friends around betting on peace in the Middle East, when he himself is the one that holds the cards of what kind of peace there is. How many bills will President Trump sign this month? And then there's 1 in 2. Donald Trump himself decides that. Who will lead the Trump administration this year? People can bet on these kinds of things. Will Trump at least buy part of Greenland? So I say all of this because people in positions of power in the government are the ones that hold the answers for the things that they are betting on. And I just think that's wrong. What do you all think? We live in a dystopia. Betting on outcomes is some dystopian crap. Yeah. So easy down to 86 oil, back up to 93, back down to 89. Basically nothing real happened. What do you think? Trade that range with leverage in 100K, you made about 50 this morning already. I don't know what you're trying to say. The news always plays a role in stocks. When you look up a stock, the most recent news about that stock can affect the stock, good or bad. Yeah, and I'm just pointing out here that members of the government can put their thumb on the scales in order to influence what kinds of decisions are made. And to me, I just think it's wrong. That's why I don't like insider trading. You shouldn't be able to trade stocks based on information not known to the public, where you are using that as an opportunity and an advantage in order to benefit your own portfolio. And I don't care who does it. I just think that's wrong. And the fact that we can use foreign policy and war, the fact that there are now prediction markets around war, it's just scary to me, because you can say that they're more concerned about winning the game than ending a war. And so I want people to look at these prediction markets with a sense of empathy and morality. Do we need to go down this route of having these prediction markets? Because it can just be another tool that people use in order to then manipulate, in order to do horrible, catastrophic decisions, such as leading to nuclear destruction of our planet, even. Over what? Making a little bit of money? It's disgusting. It's illegal insider trading. Well, insider trading is not illegal, necessarily. Right now, members of Congress can trade stocks. They can trade stocks. Now, they have to report that they've traded those stocks. There was an attempt to regulate that, but it ended up falling through. But still. But you see what I mean, y'all. Do y'all MTG made a quick 17 million, then resigned? Yeah, that was another thing. A lot of members of Congress will go in there and then focus on using their position of power to make money. And that's just wrong. If/when I ever run for Congress, my big thing is, no, we're just going to take out the greed and the avarice of the system. Going back to the actual representation of for the people. That's what it should be about. Being a member of Congress should not be about becoming wealthy, using your position to then benefit or materialize something for yourself. And the fact that there are prediction markets based on these things scares me. It would be something I would tackle if/when I run for Congress. So, going back to the main crux here, and I need to take a sip of water. The fact that in summary, and I'm going to cover it all again for the late people coming in here, the fact that Donald Trump can then threaten to blow up power plants while then previously claiming that their leadership is gone, their navy is gone, saying that, they want to make a deal and I don't, and then turns around and then says, I'm negotiating peace. You're like, it makes Trump look like an idiot. I don't think he has any self-awareness to understand that. But the volatility of the market is something that people can participate in and make money off of. And that's what concerns me even more. Just as much, if not more, well, maybe not, but then like foreign policy and peace. It just makes me mad, y'all. Let me take a sip of water, hold on. Whew. Whew. You know what's funny? And this is just me. Whenever I do these live streams, I talk so much that I think I strained my voice, and it makes me feel like I'm about to get a cold before I actually do. I don't know why that is. When I'm doing this live stream, I'm talking so much that I feel like I bring about preconditions for having a cold, and it really annoys me. Like right now, my throat feels like that hot, weird thing before you actually develop a cold. And that happens every morning when I do my live stream. It's a first world problem, but still, it's annoying. Anyway, we have a lot of people in here, so I'm going to cover again, not recover, that's completely different, all of the chaos that's been happening. And who knows, maybe there were some breaking news updates within the last hour that, the last time I was able to look at stuff. So I appreciate every single one of you. There may have been breaking news within the last 30 minutes, but this is what we know as of right now. So, is it gay? You mean, am I gay? Yes, but that's not the subject of the live stream. Thank you, the prophet regret. I appreciate you. I love when people are so obsessed with my sexuality. Like, somehow that's the only thing that you can see during these live streams. Like, bless your heart. Anyway, so this morning, I woke up to quite the contradiction. Donald Trump put out on his Truth Social this morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, while I was currently compiling my live show and I had to completely pivot. This is what Donald Trump ended up saying. I am pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the last 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenor and the tone of these in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week, I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes, meaning bombings, against Iran power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Now, what's interesting is he posted that at 7:30 a.m. this morning, though I seem to recall that Trump had previously posted over the weekend something that really was wild to me. So, Saturday evening, Trump had posted to his Truth Social saying, if Iran doesn't fully open without threat the Strait of Hormuz within 48 hours from this exact point in time, the United States will hit and obliterate and bomb and destroy and completely take out all of their various power plants, starting with the biggest one first. It has to be the biggest one. Always the biggest one. I've never had that problem. I'm always the biggest one. Thank you for your attention to this matter. So, Saturday evening, he threatens to blow up power plants and then immediately pivots and says 36 hours later that they are doing peace talks. But let me throw an even bigger monkey wrench in there. An hour before this post on Saturday, he said, the United States has blown Iran off the map, and yet their lightweight analyst, David Sanger, whoever he is, says I haven't met my own goals. Yes, I have. And weeks ahead of schedule. Their leadership is gone. Their Navy and Air Force are dead. They have absolutely no defense, and they want to make a deal, but I don't. We are weeks ahead of schedule. Okay, wait. Hold on. So, you've blown Iran off the map, according to you. But you say their leadership is gone, their Navy is gone, their Air Force is dead, they have no defense, and they want to make a deal. You don't. But then, about 36 hours later, you make a deal. Also, how is it that you can make a deal with people that are dead? Like, is this a conjuring situation? Is this a Ouija board situation? Like somehow Trump is over there with a wooden pallet, like trying to figure out, like, oh, I'm conjuring up the dead so I can negotiate peace with Iran. Like, what is going on? He says he doesn't want to make a deal with the people that are already dead, but not dead enough to make a negotiation with him. But then you threaten to blow up their power plants, but yet I thought their leadership and everyone was already dead. Their whole defense was all down. There was no one in the country to negotiate with, but that you negotiated with them anyway. It's the start of a war that is basically done. You know, we have the utmost right to escalate tensions, but you know, we've already won, but it's only just beginning. Like, Trump is the amalgamation of 6-7, 6-7, 6-7. War, not war. War, not war. War, not war. It's exhausting. Yet, global stability lies in the balance. And it's funny, but also not funny, because the safety of this country, along with all these other people in the world, are all affected. And in addition to this volatility and the weird, war, not war situation, it really leads me to question, okay, Trump's being an idiot, but like, what kinds of things are happening as a result? And as I'm seeing in the comments here, people are saying it's disgusting. It's illegal insider trading. Let me actually break that down. So you're like, okay, how in the world are these statements leading to politicians doing insider trading? Well, if you have a statement where you're threatening to blow up, a country's infrastructure, and then you immediately want peace with them, you're like, that volatility, how is that exploited? Let me break something down before I actually answer that question. Do you all know what the Strait of Hormuz is? If you've watched my videos or you've been in the live streams, you know what the Strait of Hormuz is. When I do these live streams or film content, I swallow air. So my apologies. Anyway, so the Strait of Hormuz is a waterway on the southern part of Iran. The Strait of Hormuz, and make sure to send some likes if you liked that burp, okay? Tell me in the comments. The Strait of Hormuz carries around 20% of the world's oil exports daily. So Iran as a country exports oil to other countries like China. And also there are all these oil-rich producing countries around Iran, including Iraq, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, Qatar. All these countries export oil, and all of it goes through the Strait of Hormuz. The Strait of Hormuz is this right here. All these countries around here exporting oil out into the sea in order to go to countries because it's easier to transport over a ship versus by land. And so you're like, well, how does this relate to Donald Trump's statements around peace, not peace, war, not war, threatening to blow up their power plants, yet negotiating in good faith with people that are apparently dead but not dead? Well, what this does is the Strait of Hormuz is that waterway that hangs in the balance. Iran, as the country, is threatening to bomb any oil tankers that go through the Strait of Hormuz out to the sea, exporting that oil. So right now, you basically have this standoff where all these oil tankers are literally just sitting. They're just sitting on both sides of the Strait of Hormuz, not moving. This is what it looks like. And for the ones that do attempt to pass through, Iran strikes them, bombs them, blows them up. At one point, Trump said, I just want these oil tankers to show some guts. Just go for it. We need the oil. And all of a sudden, boom, it got just destroyed, decimated, blown up. It's like, God. But you get my gist. Now, the law of supply and demand, when you have high supply and when you have, let me put it out like this. The volatility in the market, insider trading, also relies on supply and demand. So when you have a lot of demand and low supply, then the price for that goes up. When you have a lot of supply and low demand, the price exponentially decreases because the value of that decreases. Right now, oil prices, if you are like me in the United States, are rising. And that's because the supply is going down. Overseas, oil, liquefied natural gas, that supply is decreasing because these oil exports are not going out into the world to other countries. So, with lower supply, continued demand, price goes up. And so right now you're seeing increases for gas and you're seeing increases for gasoline for your car, but also your electricity is probably rising a little bit because we rely a lot on natural gas. And there are also lots of liquefied natural gas exports. Now you're like, well, how does this relate to the stock market? I'm getting there, I promise. The fact that Donald Trump can then say, we're gonna blow up your power plants, but yet your Air Force is dead, your Navy is gone, everyone, you don't wanna make a deal, but then turns around and says, I'm gonna blow up your power plants, then says, okay, we're negotiating peace. This is what happens with the stock market. This is what happens with oil prices in the stock market. Right here, you have, this right here is 6:42 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The price is at $98, around $100. Trump makes this statement talking about peace with Iran. As you can see here, this is at 7:23 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. What happens? What happens? Boom, a huge decrease just before he announces that. Just before he announces that. So he let people know about this upcoming announcement so that they could all gain the stock market. So it's convenient opportunism for people. It is leaders in the government knowing about how to predict markets because they themselves are the ones that can control it. And then it started ticking up just a little bit more afterwards. Because then the Iranian foreign ministry says, no, we've not had any contact with Iran over peace. Iran's Far News Agency, citing unnamed Iranian source, says there has been no direct contact with the US president, not through an intermediary. So they're basically like, no, we've not had any conversations about having any peace whatsoever. The source claimed Trump backed down after being warned that Iran would target US-owned and operated power plants in other countries. So the report added that Trump had said talks with Iran were underway, despite the source denying that any such communication ever happened.
So it basically leads me to questioning all about prediction markets. It leads me to question all about prediction markets. And other people were commenting about this. Buy DJT stock before it skyrockets. There were other people like this. You know, you're an effing pathological serial liar. Of course, that's the wrong you're, but that's the furthest thing from the truth. You are just trying to manipulate the stock market and crude oil prices with your lies that will rapidly be exposed when people see Iran has no intention of a deal after you attack them for no effing reason, except diverting attention from the Epstein files. Who the H do you think you are fooling? The smart Americans know what the F you are. Biggest criminal in history, pathological liar, you get the gist. And other people were also pointing this out too. The fact that immediately this year, Trump put out a tweet just before the stock market opened. I'm shocked. And then this person's like, just before the stock market doesn't open for another hour and a half. You are a DF, Kenny. And so what? He made a public announcement. What's your problem with that? Another hour? LOL, you're a complete joke. Unconditional surrender. Trump made a public announcement just 2 hours before the market opened. You can't say what is wrong with that. You have no clue. None. Just in time to jump futures. And that's the real reason. For those people who are like, wait a minute, hold on. The stock market opens officially at 9:30 a.m. Can you trade stocks before then? Yes. Yes. Trading can start as early as 4 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and though 7 a.m. and 8 a.m. are the most common times. So this is all done purposefully. Going with peace, not peace, war, not war, the volatility, controlling oil prices, doing all of this kind of crap holds global security in the balance, but also is a convenient, opportunistic action for leaders in the government to know how to put their thumb on the scales in order to then make money on prediction markets. For those people who are like, wait a minute, hold on, prediction markets? Prediction markets, like the stock market, or Kalshi. And this is leading me into wanting to dive in a little bit more about how political announcements affect stocks. So political announcements, such as elections or policy shifts, drive stock market volatility by introducing uncertainty, often causing short-term fluctuations, sectoral adjustments, or investor risk aversion. While uncertainty generally pressures markets downwards, markets often rebound post-election as policy clarity emerges and market forces outperform political events over the long term. And with all this, markets fear uncertainty more than bad news, often leading to increased volatility before elections or policy decisions. Announcements regarding changes in regulation, tax rates, or trade policies can cause specific sectors to rise or fall depending on perceived benefits for detriments. Increased oil stocks following favorable election results, or increased or decreased oil stocks based on negotiating peace or war. Holding a certain waterway like the Strait of Hormuz in the balance, meaning that with that whole situation, whether oil is going to go through or not go through, it affects the whole situation. And when I see this as an American, when I see government leaders being able in their political decisions, increasing markets in this way, it makes me really question. I really hope that they are not themselves making money off of the corrupt decisions that they themselves are doing. And this is why it gets to prediction markets themselves. I don't think that we should have prediction markets based on politics at all. I think it's a bad idea. I think that only leads... We shouldn't have prediction markets on those things. It's so dystopian. That's my personal opinion. You can disagree with me. But I think that having prediction markets when it comes to political decisions that govern how people's lives, their rights hang in the balance, it's just wrong. How long will the government shutdown last? Well, the people who then can control whether the government shutdown will last for a certain amount of time or not amount of time, they can bet so heavily on an option that they themselves can fulfill. If you're a member of Congress, you could basically make a whole bunch of predictions on whether you can put a whole bunch of stock into one of these when you are one of the agents that control the destiny of that decision. It's like at a casino, but somehow you are both the player and the house at the same time. You are able to control the dice when they land on a certain outcome, but yet you are playing it. And that makes me concerned as an American. These prediction markets, when it comes to political decisions, I think it should just be outlawed. I don't think we should have prediction markets when it comes to politics. And this gets into an interesting poll that I want to talk about, and then I'm going to have to end the live stream. This is from Data for Progress. Voters oppose prediction markets on government actions and support banning politicians from participating. Prediction markets, platforms like Polymarket, Kalshi, Predictit, that allow users to wage money on real-world events, have experienced rapid growth over the last several years, with billions of dollars now being waged on that platforms each week. These markets allow users to wager money on a range of political events, from who will win a Senate seat to whether the US will carry out a military strike. Recently, congressional leaders have proposed legislation to bar politicians from participating in these markets and to ban markets on topics like war, assassination, and election outcomes. Because here's the thing. Let's say that I was a member of Congress, and I myself, along with a whole bunch of my buddies, decided to then make a prediction. Oh, thank you for the gift. Decided to manipulate and pour a whole bunch of money into a prediction about whether the United States was going to declare war on Spain, just a random country. Well, me as a member of Congress, the power of Congress is to declare war. So I, as a member of Congress, can put a whole bunch of money into a prediction market that I myself can then, along with all of my other people, basically Congress can come up with a plot to make a whole bunch of money by predicting something that they themselves have the ability to make happen. That's like me making a whole bunch of predictions that I'm going to make another cup of coffee after the live stream ends, when I myself hold all the power in order to make that happen. Whereas if other people, if I were to say, let's say in this instance that I make a whole bunch of predictions that I'm going to make a cup of coffee after the live stream. You all might make predictions yes or no. Well, the only thing that's going to stop me from winning is me, because it's my decision. And see, that's what's so dangerous. You have these prediction markets where the players of the games themselves can rig the rules. They can rig the outcome to be in favor for themselves, monetarily. When you're a member of Congress, you should focus on representing people. You should be focused on delivering for your constituents. Taxing the wealthy, for heaven's sake. We have such big income inequality. Healthcare is a disaster. Housing is unaffordable. So, all that being said, these prediction markets allow members of government to basically put a thumb on the scales in order to influence outcomes that they themselves have the ability to make happen. These markets allow users to wager money on a range of political events, from who will win a Senate seat to whether the US will carry out a military strike. Recently, congressional leaders have proposed legislation to bar politicians from participating in these markets, to ban markets on topics like war, assassinations, and election outcomes. Heaven forbid, let's say that there is a prediction on an assassination, and then someone that I know is the person that plans to carry that out. Like, it's It's dangerous. I love these people that are trying to come at me for my voice or being gay or trying to talk about me having a lisp, which I've never been diagnosed as having, but, I slur my words sometimes. That has nothing to do with the live stream. But you have nothing else to say other than attempts at insults based on my identity. When I'm over here having a substantive conversation about something that will benefit all of us, holding government leaders accountable. Yet, because of your weird fetishistic hatred of gay people or somehow me, you have no other things to add, and you might be a bot, than trying to make fun of my sexuality like that's somehow a negative thing about me. Yet what that really shows is you have a creepy, weird obsession with my identity. You think about me being gay more than I think about me being gay. Well, probably not, but Now, in this poll, a majority of voters, 59%, agree that wagers on political government actions, ranging from what politicians will say in speeches to whether the US will carry out a military strike, should not be permitted. This skepticism is consistent across party lines. 60% of Democrats, 61% of independents, and 57% of Republicans say these wagers should not be allowed. And this is what it looks like broken down here. You can see that most voters think that wagers on government actions should not be allowed. When you look at all likely voters, it says only 28% of them say these types of wagers should be allowed. Who are you? Like, genuinely. Why do you think it would be okay for members of the government to be able to make actions and predictions based on events and outcomes that they themselves can fully control? Imagine, let's say, Mitch McConnell and Chuck Schumer create a plot around holding the government hostage by keeping it shut down so that they can somehow make a whole bunch of money with prediction markets because they themselves have the ability to keep it shut down. Who thinks that that's okay? I mean, maybe brainwashed people that somehow don't have an ounce of critical thinking, but I'm glad that most of America is on the same page. That's why if/when I run for Congress, I would want to ban prediction markets for certain topics, especially for people in positions of power. Because like insider trading, members of Congress should be focused on delivering for their constituents, not using their position in order to benefit off of information not beknownst to the public, because it's inside their noggins around what's going to happen. It makes me mad. It makes me mad when people can gain the system for their own profit and other problems like world peace just hang in the balance. You're making a game off of people's survival. You're making it a monetary evaluation whether people die or not, if it's putting bets on wars. It's different if it's a sports game. That's completely different. When it comes to political and government actions, and political and government leaders being the ones that instigate whether that outcome comes true or not, it's blasphemous that people think that somehow it's okay for that to be legalized. And you see that across the board, you have a good chunk of people who are disagreeing with it. I also think that there's several people who might just be agreeing with it because they think that, we don't want to take that advantage away. That's equal opportunity for everyone. That's freedom for them. Yeah, it's freedom for them to be able to rig the system for themselves. I don't think that people know too much about prediction markets to understand that this is how they can be manipulated. So, also a part of this is 2/3 of voters support banning politicians from participating in prediction markets. There are more Democrats that are on board with this than Republicans, so Republicans, you need to get on board. Nevertheless, you can see here that most of America is on board with that. Voters express high levels of concern about specific types of prediction markets. Markets allowing users to wager on acts of terrorism or political assassinations are the most alarming, with concerns from 82% to 78% of voters. Voters are also concerned about, Voters are also concerned about markets that let users bet on whether a candidate will win or lose an election. 70% concerned in markets covering events where a person has complete control of the outcomes, 69%. So I think I've made my point here. All of this is so crazy, but I need to skedaddle and get on with my day. If you enjoyed this live stream, please make sure to smash that subscribe button. Seriously, I work super hard to do this content. Mondays are my day off, but I have several errands I need to run. I love all of you so much. Shout out to my amazing moderators for maintaining the space. We do have a Discord, and I will be trying to promote that Discord more in the future. I'm just taking things one step at a time. I appreciate all of you so much. If you enjoyed this live, please smash that subscribe button. I am posting more content. I have 2 jobs. Today is my day off, but I have 2 jobs, this and another one. I'm trying to make sure to give you all the content that you're looking for. I take this very seriously. This is some housekeeping stuff. I take this platform very seriously because right now, there's a lot of people who are not sure what to think, or they're not given the empowerment on how to think critically. What my lives intend to do are to encourage empathy and critical thinking around political events. I want to give you the power and give you the agency to think for yourself. I'm not one of these news outlets that's trying to assert their opinion as factual information. That's dangerous. I don't care if it's an opinion that I agree with or disagree with. That's not the point. The point is there's the objective raw information. That's not up for debate. That's what it is. Now, I always encourage you to then look at that using empathy and critical thinking. That's what my platform is about. And if you're on board with that, please make sure to hit that subscribe button, smash it, turn on post notifications. Y'all are incredible. But I need to get on with my day. Y'all are incredible. I'm sorry I haven't read a lot of the comments here, but let's see. Someone said ignore them. I don't know. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Have a nice week, everyone. Am I fierce? Oh yeah, well, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. I appreciate every single one of you. I think today's live was really great. So, is this positive or negative towards Trump? Just curious. Well, I'm gonna let you decide. That's the thing, and I'm not gonna excessively dogpile on this person. Why does that matter? Why does that matter? People come in here, are you for or against Trump? I provide news and information. I have my opinions that you have liberty to disagree with, but I'm just going to give you the raw factual information. Why should whether I like or dislike a certain person immediately be something like, oh, I'm going to stick with this person or not? I want people to get out of that mentality. I encourage people to escape the doldrums of constant, are you in my in group or are you in my out group? We need to escape that. And it's not trying to, I know that person was just asking, but we need to escape that conundrum where are you my enemy or are you my friend? No, I'm here just going to give you the information. And today I've already done the live, I've already done my segment, so I encourage go and check out my content. Now, if you really want my opinion, I think Trump is an idiot. That's just looking at the statements, Trump's an idiot. Though it's whenever I see that will hop in the live stream, it's like, are you favorable to Trump or not? If you listen, you'll figure out. But how can you bankrupt a casino and then some segment of society thinks that he's a genius? Jeez Louise. Anyway, I appreciate all of you. I need to skedaddle. Y'all are incredible. So, anyway, just remember that you are beautiful, you are loved, you are valid, you are strong, and you are fierce. Oh yeah, 3 casinos. True. Don't let anyone or anything or any algorithm ever dim your shine. I love all of you so much.
Bye!